How's it going, guys? Welcome to another I should say a special No Name Reactions, as we're going to be looking at the very first slate of upcoming DC studio films that are made by this guy you see here, James Gunn, who is co-CEO of DC Studios, along with the other guy that I can't remember his name of right now at the moment. But we are going to get our first glimpse of what these titles are going to be. Now, from what he says, he's probably going to talk about it. That the idea is they're trying to make this unified universe expand out not just within movies but within television and gaming. So it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to provide. I have an idea from what's already coming, but we're going to see this for the first time, learn a bit more what James wants. As you can tell from the title of the YouTube video, if you haven't looked already, it's titled Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters. So I think that's how they're going to start their it's their equivalent to Marvel Studios phases and everything, but we're starting with chapter 1. So let's go ahead and get this checked out and see what's going on.
Hey everybody, I'm James Gunn. I'm the co-CEO of DC Studios. So as many of you know, DC has been disconnected in film and television for a long time. And it's one of, our jobs, mine and Peter's, is to come in and make sure the DCU is connected in film, television, gaming, and animation. That the characters are consistent, played by the same actors, and it works within one story. And if something is outside of that, like Matt Reeves' Batman or Todd Phillips' Joker or Teen Titans Go, that it is clearly labeled as DC Elseworlds, outside of the mainstream DCU continuity. Now, Peter and I have gotten pretty lucky in terms of the 4 projects that are coming out over the next year. First, we have Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Shazam has always been off kind of in his own part of the DCU, so he connects very well. That moves directly into The Flash, a fantastic movie that I really love, that resets the entire DC universe. And then to move into Blue Beetle, a fantastic film about a kid who's a marvelous part of the DCU, and then into Aquaman 2, which leads directly into our next few projects, which I'm going to tell you about now. So, Peter and I, along with a group of very talented writers, have started to map out an 8 to 10 year plan of what DC Studios will be in film, television, and gaming. This first chapter is called Gods and Monsters. Now, what I'm about to tell you, is a part of the first chapter. It's not the entire first chapter. The first project is Creature Commandos. Creature Commandos is an animated series. I've written all the episodes. Something we're going to do that's a little bit different at DC is we're going to have characters move into animation, out of animation, usually having the same actor play their voice as who plays them in live action. The next project up is Waller. This is a story of Amanda Waller, played by Viola Davis. Viola Davis is going to team up with members of Team Peacemaker, and this is a story that's been created by Crystal Henry, who did Watchmen, and Jeremy Carver, who created the Doom Patrol. It is a fantastic story that's out of this world, and I can't wait for people to see it. Okay, next up is the big one, the true beginning of the DCU. This is called Superman Legacy. This is being written by me. I'm in the middle of it. I'm having a great time doing it. And Superman will be released into theaters July 11th, 2025. Okay, the next thing is a big premiere HBO television series called Lanterns. This is a story of a couple of Green Lanterns, John Stewart and Hal Jordan, and we have a few other Lanterns peppered in there, but this is really a terrestrial-based TV show, which is almost like True Detective, with a couple of Green Lanterns who are space cops watching over Precinct Earth. In it, they discover a terrifying mystery that ties into our larger story of the DCU. Next is a big movie called The Authority. The Authority is a passion project of mine. It's based on the marvelous Wildstorm characters we are now bringing into the DCU and will interact with all of our primary DCU characters. The Authority are a group of superheroes who think the world is broken and they want to fix it by any means necessary. I think it's a very different look at superheroes. We're doing a television series called Paradise Lost. Paradise Lost is the story of Paradise Island, usually known as Themyscira, which is the birthplace of Wonder Woman. It's almost like Game of Thrones with Westeros, but with all of the inhabitants of Paradise Island. The introduction of the DCU's Batman is The Brave and the Bold. The Brave and the Bold is the story of Batman and his actual son, Damian Wayne. This is based on Grant Morrison's great comic book run. Damian Wayne is my favorite Robin. He's a little assassin who Batman tries to get in line. And so this is the story of the two of them and the beginning of sort of the Bat family in the DCU. Next up is a TV series called Booster Gold. Booster Gold is one of comics' really popular cult heroes. He is a fascinating guy. He's a loser from the future who uses future technology to come back to present day and become a superhero so that people will love him. It is basically the superhero story of imposter syndrome on an HBO Max series. One of my favorite comic book series from last year was Tom King's run on Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. And so we're going to turn that into a big science fiction epic film. Now, Superman is a guy who was sent to Earth and raised by loving parents, whereas Supergirl in this story, she is a character who was raised on a chunk of Krypton. She watched everybody around her perish in some terrible way, so she's a much more jaded character. And that brings me to Swamp Thing, the last thing we're going to talk about, a very dark horror story in the origins of the monster who is Swamp Thing. And although it's totally outside of the rest of the DCU, it will still feed into the rest of the stories. Anyway, those are the stories that I can tell you about right now. I've loved the DC characters since I was a child. They're incredibly important to me. I knew that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to do something very different. One of the things that's very important for me in all of these movies and TV series is that the director's vision and the vision of the writers and all of the creators is unique and something special. Storytelling is always king. That's all that matters to us. And I want to be true to those stories. I want to be true to you guys and really give you something different than you've ever seen before. Anyway, thank you, everybody. I appreciate you watching. I hope this was exciting for you because it's really exciting for me. And I can't wait to start to dive into these stories with you guys on this grand adventure. Thank you so much.
Let's get the big things out the way. No, I'm not calling. Let's just go through it. Let's see what happens. Let's check everything out. Superman Legacy, which is going to be the beginning of this new DCU, though they talked about how the 4 movies that are coming out this year, which are Shazam 2, Flash, Blue Beetle, and Aquaman 2, are still pretty much here in a way. And they talked about how Flash is going to be pretty much the reset of the DCU. Superman will be I guess you could say our launch in a way. The launch, though there will be stuff coming hopefully before that. Because the release date is going to be interesting for this one. But the interesting thing about this, based on the DC article here, Peter was talking about this is really the launch of the DCU. The first 2 projects are amuse-bouche of what's coming up with Superman Legacy. James Gunn's writing it. Hopefully they're gonna have him direct it. We're gonna see we're gonna pretty much see this is not an origin story. We're gonna see the balance of him dealing with being alien and living on Earth and all stuff, and truth and justice and all the other stuff that they talk about and everything. And of course, if you see here, if you can look and glean on that, there is a release date, July 11th, 2025, 2 years, but hopefully we'll see what happens there, and that will be fine. Well, it'll be hopefully it's going to be worth the wait. Next thing, of course, is one of the things I'm excited for is Lanterns, live action HBO Max series. Not only we're gonna get Hal Jordan, we're also gonna get Jon Stewart. This is more of the Lantern Corps itself than it is focusing on either one of these people and everything. So I'm excited about that. I want to see what they talk about. It does look like there's gonna be something that's more that leads to an investigation, that leads to more of the broader DCU throughout the stories and what makes it all connected, which is pretty exciting. The Authority, I have no idea who these characters are on a comic perspective, but I like the story of what they plan on doing. And how it says in the article here, the Authority is a very different kind of superhero story. They're basically good intention, but they think that the world is completely broken and the only way to fix it is to take things into their own hands, whether it's killing people, destroying heads of state, changing governments, basically whatever they want to do to make the world better. And we'll see where that journey takes them. It's interesting because it gives us that gray area of superheroes and all that stuff. And for the fact of what are you willing to do to make sure everything's gonna happen? What to make sure everything's feel make to make the world a better place? And this again, this is not the good versus evil kind of thing. This is just more of what can I do to make things better and all that stuff. And seeing them juggle with it. Hopefully, this is gonna be a live action movie. Doesn't look like we have a release date for it yet, and I'm gonna give this a chance. Maybe between now and then, whenever this officially releases, I will probably check out one of their comic stories first volumes and see what they're more about these characters. Paradise Lost, HBO Max series. What they talk about it, this is supposed to be a Game of Thrones style set in Themyscira where we deal with all the Amazonian women and all that stuff. From what I was understanding, it is a somewhat of an origin story based off what they talk about here, and really it takes place before Wonder Woman was born. So Game of Thrones style. Let's see how this goes. This is a live action series. We're gonna see what we get from this. And from an Hollywood Reporter article, they did say that this is supposed to take set events before the Wonder Woman films. We'll see how that goes and everything. Based on continuity and where that goes. One of my, I think, most anticipated right now, anticipated DC canon movies of this whole new DCU is The Brave and the Bold, which is going to be a Batman flick. But this is not Robert Pattinson's Batman. This is going to be a brand new Batman within this universe. Since they're now making the Robert Pattinson one a separate thing in itself and all that stuff. And I can talk, and what they're calling that is going to be something that's called DC Elseworlds, where it's not part of the continuity of the DCU within the TVs and films, but it's something there to give like another story perspective of certain characters and all that stuff, which is pretty cool. And I think that's the best thing they did, the best decision for that. But for this one, The Brave and the Bold, if you can't see by the picture, this is not only we're gonna get a new Batman, but we're gonna get Damian Wayne Robin. I'm already excited there. I love Damian Wayne. I think he's one of my favorite Robins based off just any kind of medium within the Batman universe, whether animation, comics, and all that stuff that I've experienced how I see him, and I'm very excited about this too, stuff because not only it's what's also cool about this is not only this is going to be an introduction to Batman, but we're already going to have an established Bat family so far, from what it sounds like. Because if we're already getting Damian Wayne, that means that everyone else has to be established. That means Nightwing, Red Hood, probably. If not, we can get an introduction to him soon. For that, the other Robins that are previous Robins that have been here before, Batgirl possibly, and all that stuff. See where the story goes, and it takes everything in place and like that. What villains are already here, and all that stuff too. Will we get, since this is Damian Wayne, will we get Talia and Ra's al Ghul in this, since Damian was raised from the League of Assassins? So that's gonna be interesting to see. If I remember correctly, based off what they talked about, as I said, not Robert Pattinson, not Ben Affleck, and all that stuff. That is a separate thing, and all that stuff, and everything. This is gonna be an interesting story. It's gonna be a very interesting story of what they have, and I'm very excited for this too. In all honesty, this is gonna be one of my favorite ones. And then as one of the CEOs, Peter Safran, if I'm saying his last name wrong, I'm sorry. This is going to feature other members of the extended Bat family, just because we feel like they've been left out of the Batman stories in theater for far too long. So that pretty much confirms the Bat family is already established in this universe, and it's so exciting. An interesting one that I believe that's coming to the new DCU is Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. No release date yet. This is going to be again a live action movie, and pretty much what it talks about is this is based off Tom King's comic run and all that stuff. So I've never read it and all that stuff. I do plan on reading this before and everything, just to get an idea of what the story is about and for this one. And how Gunn describes this: in our story, we have Superman, who was sent to Earth, raised by incredibly loving parents, of course. Kara was raised on Krypton. She was on a piece of Krypton that drifted away from the planet and lived there for the first 14 years of her life in a horrible situation where she watched everyone around her die. So she's a much harsher and more effed up Supergirl than you've used thus far. That is going to be something different, because my depiction of Supergirl from when I've seen her from other things is more of a lively, not, I don't know the right word, a more lively character, more always happy and everything like that. And especially if I also watched the CW Supergirl show, so and that's she does have that more. There's some moments, but not that dark from what this sounds like and everything. And that's what's more exciting for what's I think is going to be exciting for this. Whether there is Supergirl was cast in for the Flash movie. I forget the actress's name, but if it's the same person, it'll be interesting to see on that. It'll be interesting to see what they do with that and everything because it is a totally different style, how the character looks and everything. Another live action HBO show that's gonna be coming pretty soon is gonna be called Waller. Viola Davis will be back as Amanda Waller, as it's actually set after season one of Peacemaker, which is pretty interesting. So I mean, Peacemaker, and so everything's gonna be cool. Everything's like there. That is still established within this new DCU. We're gonna see what Waller's gonna be up to, what they're gonna bring. Pretty much the team around Peacemaker is gonna be in this show too. So we're gonna interesting to see where that goes. Probably gonna have to rewatch Peacemaker just to get an idea of what could come for this show and everything. As this is supposed to be technically set between season one and season two of Peacemaker, though season two hasn't been officially not announced, but like there's no details on it yet of what's going to come. And another movie that I'm interested in seeing, and that's going to come out within this first thing, is going to be Swamp Thing. It's the dark origins of him, learning more about him. It's going to be interesting to see about that. I don't know much about him myself, which is why I'm kind of excited about this, because I will say DC characters, the more outside of the Holy Trinity or whoever's like within the Justice League or the Bat family too, I don't know much about a lot, and I'm very excited to see this character on what they bring to him too, for that stuff too. So that's gonna be very exciting to see. Yeah, this is our no name reactions to the new slate of DC movies and television that is coming pretty soon within the next couple of years. We do have a confirmation on one release date, and that is July 11th, 2025 for Superman Legacy. Hopefully between then, some of the other products that were announced will probably be out by then, and so we have a slew of content to come and all that stuff. There is a lot more to discuss with this. We'll probably be talking about that on the next episode of the No Name Podcast. That will not be the one that's coming out this week if you're watching this as this video is out. So we will be checking on our next episode. We will be talking about that a little bit more in detail on the details of, because more details will probably be slipping out as we know more between now and then and all stuff. But other than that, if you haven't already, drop a like on the video, comment below what you're excited about and everything, and we'll catch you out. And I'll check you guys out next time. Peace.